There are some great ground cover plants that you can use in a garden. And some you can use both in a bright shade, some with irrigation you can use in full sun. The plant I'm going to talk about is known as Liriope, or the clump forming Liriope, or clump forming lily turf. There is another type that some of us may have, and it is the creeping lily turf. It's almost like a weed. It takes over the garden everywhere. And usually you got to take a weed whacker and cut it down at least once a year. That's different than what I'm talking about. These plants in front of me maintain their clump. They're nicely shaped. You can plant them close enough together so it looks like a solid mass, or you can use them in a design to edge a bed or a border. And this Liriope, they have specific names, so try not to forget them. This one here is called Gold Banded. And the reason it has the name Gold Banded is on the leaf, it has a little gold band right around the edge of the leaf. There are other forms that are solid green leaves that have different names. The one to my right here, where I'm pointing to, and to the back near the fountain here, is Liriope superba. That is a pink form. But again, this has been in the garden for 15 years, and it's right where I planted it. It's not spread 10 feet away. Liriope bloom in the fall. Now when I mean fall, they bloom, depending on where you live, end of August and September. They're long blooming with beautiful flowers. While I'm talking about ground covers, before we go to the next spot to look at more Liriope, I do want to mention there is one other favorite ground cover that everybody ought to have in the garden. It is known as hardy Plumbago. Let me give you the name. Ceratostigma plumbaganoides. That name you don't have to remember. Just remember hardy Plumbago. Deep blue cobalt flowers. One of the best plants to use as a border plant that maintains its shape, and it really has pretty foliage for most of the year, is Liriope, the clump forming. And this type right in front of me that I'm walking along is known as Christmas tree. And the reason it has the name Christmas tree, they're beautifully shaped, just like a miniature Christmas tree. These flowers also are easy to use in arrangements. You know, there was a movement years ago to make these big, giant, huge arrangements. But nowadays, a lot of people, for special occasions, anniversaries, weddings, birthdays, they're using tiny or small containers for an arrangement so they don't clog up the whole table. Liriope is a great plant to use for that, even the foliage. Now this one here in front of me is a different type. It is called Royal Purple, easy to grow. Two other good varieties to grow. One, if you want to brighten up the shade garden and you want to add some lightness to it, there's a variety called Liriope variegata. It has a lot of beautiful yellow foliage. In addition to that variety, you have one other one with light, sort of mauvey pink flowers called Liriope superba. Another question people ask is, how do I deal with them when they finish flowering? Well, the best thing to do is just shear them back with the head shears. You're going to do that in February or March. It'll come back and grow again. If you want to divide it, you divide it in February, March, or October, November. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.